Hi guys, this is Andreas the Norwegian Viking here with, a different kind of video, an announcement video or, something like that. So, you might have heard that Games Workshop issued a press release through their app about a new specialist game studio. So, what this essentially means is that games like Necromunda, Mordheim, Manowar, Blood Bowl, immensely popular games that has a huge following, especially like online versions of the game. They can now get support again, because this was the thing way back when Games Workshop actually had a specialist games studio. Sorry about that, my cat is being annoying. They really had like a specialist game studio where they released new versions of games. They released Blood Bowl again. They released Epic, which is now called Epic Armageddon. So they have done this before, but suddenly they stopped. One day, poof, just every single miniature was out of stock, and the rules were no longer online for a bit. So this has happened before, but with the I think there are much more interest now in these subcategory games than there ever been, and along with this also Lord Rings. So, do you want to come up? Come on, Muscat. Come. He doesn't want to come up. He's pestering me and doesn't want to come up. Okay, so yeah, what does this mean for Lord Rings? Well, in one of the emails and posters made by the Australian Games Workshop team, they included Lord Rings for this announcement on their Facebook page in a poster, and I've also heard rumblings about this, but not for Lord Rings, a few weeks ago. So I knew something was coming, but not for Lord Rings. So it was a huge surprise for me when the bombshell hit sometime during the last 48 hours, and it's great because it means that Games Workshop is continuing the support of the game. Do you want to come up now? Come. There we go. Okay, so we get continued support from the game and for the game, but I would hold off on expecting anything huge before 2018. That is billed by some of the insiders in Games Workshop as the big year for the specialist game studio. We might get some small releases. We know Games Workshop has made models not released yet for Battle of the Five Armies. Apparently the Perry twins have commissioned miniatures for Battle of the Five Armies. They said so in an interview with someone, I can't remember quite who. So there might be some small releases, but for those expecting like a new box set, Battle of the Five Armies box set popping around just before or after Christmas, I wouldn't expect that. But what this means for Lord Rings is something immensely cool, which is we can expect Games Workshop to continue to make miniatures in some capacity for Lord Rings. We can expect Games Workshop to continue making rules for the game. We can expect Games Workshop to not drop the license for the time being. So I urge you and every single person watching this to start recruiting, start spreading the news that this game is very much alive. It's much more alive than it has ever been, and we can continue to grow the player base, and we can really make something happen with this, because I know Games Workshop is using the communities for these specialist games for inspiration and gauging interest and everything for what they're going to make, or how much of an impact the studio is going to make for the game. So for instance, if there suddenly is a huge peak in interest for, let's say, Manowar, not Dreadfleet, but Manowar, the old naval battle game set in the Warhammer world, there might be pushed for support for that game. And also, if the community for Lord of the Rings really pushes together and just explodes, like it has been the past 2 years, especially the past year, with all these international YouTube channels popping up, the Ardacon international tournament coming in October, and everything really getting into place for something really big. I think Games Workshop might see that, okay, if we do something huge for Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit, how much will that impact the sales? How many people will buy it? Stuff like that. So I think that due to the fact that we were fed up with Games Workshop not supporting the Hobbit and Lord of the Rings games for such a long time, people just went off doing other things, and that impacted sales, of course, because Games Workshop didn't sell new miniatures because people frankly weren't interested. They had a bunch of Lord of the Rings miniatures from before, they had stuff to paint, and really, okay, not that interesting. But when the community just said, okay, we're not going to let this game die, we're going to make our own miniatures, we're going to make our own rules, we're going to make tournaments happen, we're going to make everything happen ourselves. What then happened is Games Workshop might have seen that interest and might plan something cool for the future. So I am not an insider anymore, but I have contacts, so I will try to keep you guys informed through Facebook on what I find out. But again, I want to stress that this is entirely new. It is unprecedented that Games Workshop has released information about an upcoming brand of studio. They've not done that ever without having a huge release to tie it into. I would expect this information to come out with a new version of Blood Bowl. I would expect, like, okay, so here we have brand new box of Blood Bowl, with 2 plastic teams, beautifully sculpted, new game board, new rules, new everything. I would expect they to announce this type of announcement with a release. Okay, but without any release, and I know the Betrayal of Calth is kind of a specialist release, but it says core game in every single press release statement. No, not press release. A trade release statement they've sent out to the independent stockists. So it's not something that will go away. It's not something that is specialist in so it might be it might be really that they make it as a part of the studio, since it's a board game, but the miniatures are not specialist by any definition. they will be one of the biggest sellers for Games Workshop in a while, I think. So, but Lord of the Rings, yeah, it's a small community when comparing it to 40k. But we are in fact a huge community, and we can make stuff happen. So again, go out, recruit people, tell them the game isn't dead, tell them that, well, if the game eventually dies, we will carry on, but the game's not dead, the miniatures aren't going anywhere. Well, some of them might, but we will continue to support the game, and Games Workshop will continue to support the game. So, not at all glim news, it will happen. I'm so excited for this, and yeah, just crack on painting, crack on telling friends, family, people you meet in tournaments, web game stores, all around that Lord of the Rings is not dead. Alright, so I'll leave you on this, and please share the video, really, because I think this is important news to come out. Share the video and tell your friends. So, as always, this has been the Norwegian Viking here with some cool news, and yeah, support your Hobbit hobby, and I'll speak to you soon.